What up, words? Your boy Chuck Wick, ill, aka Charles Brown, back again with another Talking Facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified on all those upcoming episodes. All right, man, it's been a long time in the making, and when I say a long time, I mean like a week, like a week and a half, 2 weeks. All right, man. So this is what I want to do. For those that know me, right? I have been a long-standing Matrix fan. So much to the fact that I used to put Matrix in my top 20 movies of all times. I mean, that's from movies 50 years ago. You can go back 50, 60 years ago, and I still was like, Matrix was better. Old movies, new movies, movies that just came out, Matrix was in my top movies of all time, and I'm going to say why. For one, it just was mind blowing when it first came out. It was something unheard of. It was something we had never seen done before, right? The Matrix was, first of all, let me just say I got a new microphone, a new setup over here, so things might look and sound different. I'm trying to step it up just for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think of the new sound. See how everything look and everything sound better. Put a little money into stuff and you get money back. All right. So yeah, man, the Matrix, man. This was my all-time favorite movie at one point. I mean, until Endgame, in Infinite Wars and Endgame came out, I would have put anything. I mean, yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan as well, but they kind of like, I ain't got to go into Star Wars. But when I heard that Matrix Four, quote unquote Matrix Four, which I would never call something Matrix Four, right? But for lack of a better word, we're gonna call it Matrix Resurrections. We're gonna call it Matrix Four, right? When I heard, they've been talking about this for years, for absolute years, and when I heard that this movie was coming out, I was super excited because they've been toying with this for years that they were going to bring this out, they were coming back, da da da. But it was always a this and that, and it was always some reason why it wasn't going to happen. Most people said they shouldn't have done it. Most people that I talked to, when I would get giddy about, oh, I can't wait to see what they do with them. I'm talking like 7, 8 years ago. I would talk to people. I can't wait to see what they do with Matrix. I can't wait. Most people, I don't remember anyone being excited about them bringing it back because pretty much the story was told. But to me, I am one of these true romantics that believe that there's always more story to tell, and if it's done right, we could actually have something great, right? But for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where the story could go. Right? The machines had captured Neo. He looked dead. He was they carted him off, right? Holy man, they carted him off, and Trinity was dead, and Smith was believed to be dead. So it was a lot of still was unanswered questions. When Neo went inside Smith and exploded inside of him and whatever, and it still had a lot of questions. You still had the Oracle, right? You still had the is it the architect, right? And just was a lot of questions left, right? It was so much. If you were a true fan, you didn't look. A lot of people looked at it like it was wrapped up and it was over, but to me, it was like there was so many questions left to explore. And then you had the Animatrix. You just had a lot of stuff that. Then you had a lot of books come out. It was just so many stories that I felt could have been told, and there was so many people making videos about a bunch of fan theories and like the kid who ran up to Neo when he first when he first got into the real world. That kid, what was his significance to the story? And it was so many little details that were kind of left to chance, right? So when they announced this Matrix Resurrections, I was like, yes. And then when I saw the trailer, I was like, you have got to be kidding. This is so dope. I cannot wait with the Alice, the inside the looking glass, all this stuff, right? It looked amazing. It looked like blue pill, red pill was back. Everything was coming back full circle. I didn't know who this black guy was, but I was like, he must be Morpheus Young, and that was rumors about that. Then there was rumors that not rumors because I watched a lot of, believe it or not, the other channel, Matrix Explained, their channel. I've been watching their channel for like 3 years, right? Easily. Still talking about this is before they announced anything. I just used to watch Matrix Explained on repeat. All these different theories and hypotheses. This was before they even started making the movie. Actually, I think I've been watching that for more than 3 years. Even before the movie was announced to be in production, I was watching that movie. I was watching that channel. So it had to be like 5 years, right? And it's fascinating. They had so many different hypotheses and so many different ways that it could go. So many characters untouched. It's like Game of Thrones. There's so many characters. You need an entire book just to separate the characters and to distinguish each person's role. You need a thick ass novel like this, just with all the different moving parts, right? And the Matrix was the same way. And it was a fascinating story from beginning to end. And I always felt that if given the right circumstance and given, I wanted to know what happened with Neo, Trinity, everyone involved. And I can go on for hours about what that movie actually meant to me. So what I'm going to say right now, right, is we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I still was going to go to the movies to watch it, but the way it dropped Christmas time, right? And I had a lot of family in town, and it just was almost impossible, right? We had to go see kid movies, and I think we went to see Encanto, and I think we went to see Sing 2, and it just was a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on, and I just really couldn't find the time to go see it at the movies, so I went and watched it. What I said I would not do, I watched it on HBO Max. That's one thing I do. I must admit, I did not watch this in the theater like I said I would, right? So I go and I sit down, me and wifey and my daughter, who's seen all the Matrix. She's old enough to comprehend what's going on. Um, we sat down and watched it from beginning to end, and as I'm watching, right, and I'm going to talk about everything. I'm going to talk about everything that happened. We're going to be here a while, but as I'm watching, I'm slowly going down from giddy excitement to trying to process some of these situations that are happening, and I'm like, now I don't know everything, but some of this stuff ain't making no sense, and some of this stuff seems unnecessary, right? And I knew going in that there was no Lawrence Fishburne, right? And what's my guy that plays um, the agent? I can't remember his name right now. I'll have that name before we leave, but I can't even understand why you would start this movie without them, but you bring back Neo and you bring back Trinity. If you got a scheduling conflict, then don't do the movie. In my opinion, what you wait for this guy, right? You wait for this guy, and I'm gonna get his name right now because I don't want to go any further without talking about. I want to use his correct name, and I just don't want to go any further. My guy. So Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving, right? And I should have known that, but Hugo Weaving, right? Why would you start this movie without Hugo Weaving? So first of all, you got the guy from. I'm going to jump into the movie, right? I'm going to just jump into things that I felt went wrong. Now I'm not going to say that the movie is a total bust, right? It's I know people who like this movie, right? And I know people who don't like this movie, and I'm gonna say, for what it's worth, I enjoyed some of this movie, right? I enjoyed some of this movie. I was like, oh wow, this is But some of the things I can't get past that just cannot let me like this movie overall. Now, again, I'm like one of the biggest Matrix fans you're ever going to meet. I'm watching it on TBS. I'm watching it on DVD. I watch behind the scenes, all this stuff, and I've put in hours. I'm going to say, even with this movie, the Resurrections, I've watched a minimum of 25 reaction videos just trying to make sense. So please don't think I didn't put any thought into this. I put so much thought into this, right? That I could have did this video days ago. And I didn't want to do the video without fully grasping what happened. What happened with this video? What happened to this movie with Neo, Trinity, Agent Smith, Niobe? What went wrong in my opinion? And instead of going like it's just a train wreck, a dumpster fire, I'm going to tell you my main grievance with this movie. And I know I've been talking for almost 10 minutes already. And I haven't said nothing. My big concern with Matrix Resurrection is the word meta. The word I don't know if you know what the word meta means. Which is basically when you're basically telling the audience you're aware of the movie's aware of itself, right? My thing with this Matrix, it felt like, and I don't know what Lana Wachowski was doing. I don't know if her whole thing was to make it feel. I don't know if she sabotaged this movie on purpose as a way to keep Warner Brothers from sabotaging it. But the movie is so self aware that you can't enjoy it. So this is my thing. A lot of people, I've seen a couple reviews where they're like, you fanboys glossed over the true meaning of what Lana was trying to say. And it wasn't that we glossed over it. We didn't like it. So what happened, if you're going to do a movie where the entire premise, right? The first Matrix blew your mind because you thought you knew what you didn't know. Everything you thought you knew was wrong, right? They were like, you're not even in the real world. You're in a simulation of the real world. The real world has been destroyed years ago. You think you're in the real world. You're in a computer generated program that is making you feel like you're eating chicken, you're eating steak, but in real reality you're in a pod being siphoned off for energy. And you have never seen the real world. You've never seen the real sun. And we are here to free you from that. And Neo is on the verge of freeing us all from the clutches of the machine, right? And in the first three Matrixes, it was all about breaking free of the machine, breaking free of the machines. The machines are the real enemy. The machines are the real threat, right? If we could just figure out a way to destroy these machines and a way to defeat the architect and these people like that, right? There's no there is no way around it that this is a great premise, right? But when we come back to Matrix 4, it's that is a game now, right? A game that Neo created because he's a software programmer now because the machines resurrected him because they didn't have enough energy with the current state. It's convoluted plot, right? The machines are at war with each other because there's not enough energy to go around to keep the current state that they're living in. So they break into two factions. One who wants to keep things the way they are, and another faction of machines that don't agree with it, and they want a different source of power, and they want to do things differently, right? It's very convoluted because it's basically saying the analyst, right? The analyst has placed Neo, right, in a he's back in his pod. Trinity's back in her pod. The analyst has recreated the Matrix because he figured out that Neo and Trinity are an extremely capable source of power if he can keep them controlled and he can keep them emotionally aware. Like as far as their emotions need to be running high, and that creates an extreme source of power for the Matrix and therefore the machine. So if their emotions are running high, they can siphon them off forever. So the reason that they want Neo and Trinity together is because they don't work without that. They resurrected Neo without Trinity, but they could never make him. They could never get any power from him because it was just it was impossible for him to function without Trinity as a motivating factor, right? So they brought Trinity in and put them side by side in these pods or facing each other, whatever, always out of reach, always at arm's length, but they could never connect. They didn't even look like themselves inside the Matrix. They were resurrected. They were always extremely close to each other, but they didn't know each other. They didn't know why they were even in the Matrix anymore. Everything that we saw Neo go through was stripped away from his memory banks as far as it being real. He was now recreated and told that he was siphon these images and use them to create a video game called The Matrix itself, right? So now everything that he went through, he made a video game in this new Matrix. He made a video game of it and became super rich off of it. And the video game is owned by Warner Brothers, and they want a new version of this video game. This is where we come into play with Neo and the analyst, who is played by Neil Patrick Harris, aka Barney from How I Met Your Mother, right? And Doogie Howser. So the analyst is now Neo's psychiatrist, right? Psychologist, psychiatrist, one or the other, right? And if you can't tell he's the bad guy from the very beginning, then something's wrong with you. But he's trying to tell Neo every time Neo has a emotional breakthrough or he feels like he's remembering something from the Matrix, the guy, the analyst, talks him down and gives him a blue pill, right? So he got him on all these blue pills, nonstop blue pills. And it's very convoluted. It's stuff that I could try to explain to you, but it wouldn't even make no sense coming out of my mouth, right? But end of the day, he has these blue pills on overload. Neo has so many blue pills he can't even think straight, right? Now they explained why there's a new Morpheus, and they explain why Trinity and Neo don't know each other. So there's a new Morpheus because Neo in his game programmed what is called a modo, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is a simulation inside of the game that will run a program a certain way that it's almost like a test, right? And it's almost like a demo. And he secretly plants this inside the Matrix video game, the software, secretly hoping that it will create a real Morpheus, and that Morpheus inside of the game will become self-aware and jump in to help him out and free him, for lack of a better explanation, right? Now, this new Morpheus, right? He's played by Yaha Abdul Mateen II. I could be saying that wrong. Probably butchered his name, right? I know this guy he used to be in The Get Down and a couple other shows, right? Great actor, right? And he's going to free Neo some kind of way. But before Neo is free, he needs Bugs, who sees him stepping off of the building because he can't. He's in an emotional state at all times, which is on purpose by the analysts because that's how they, like I said, they draw their power from him. But he's getting to the point he can't take it, so he tries to step off a building to see if he can fly, or end it all one way, one or the other, right? He doesn't fall off the building because he can't die. They can't let him die because they need him for whatever, right? So he steps off the building, but he doesn't fall. He just stands there. They really don't show what happens after that. He just stands there, and then he's in the analyst office. Because the analyst keeps resetting the program. Every time Neo gets close to figuring out what's going on, the analyst just resets the program. He has this black cat called Deja Vu. There's a lot going on, right? Jonathan Groff, who plays the king in Hamilton, and I think he was on Glee, I believe. He's now the new Agent Smith. So we have no Hugo and we have no my guy, right? As Morpheus, right? As we start to move forward, I told you about the analyst who's his psychiatrist. I told you about Agent Smith, who is now his boss at the Matrix game. They're like, he's like his partner in a way, but he has to bounce ideas off of him, and he's like some kind of way his boss, some kind of way, right? And he's always there, like his I'm your buddy, I'm your friend. And then there's this kid who's his assistant, right? I believe his name. I'm looking at, I think it's Shepard, something like that, right? And he's always, oh, he's like a fanboy. Oh, Neo, just always with the, just happy to be here. Just. Oh my God, like explaining this and explaining that to Neo. We need somebody to explain stuff to us, right? And the reason where this thing, I just kind of touched on the. I didn't even get into Niobe yet. I didn't even get into the machines helping humans. I didn't even get this for this. We're here already, right? This convoluted, and we're here. I think I'm 20 minutes in, and I haven't even gotten into what I don't like about, because I have to explain all this to tell you what I don't like about it, right? So I hope somewhere I'm all. I hope I'm still. I still got you. So Bugs, who is she has the purple hair. She used to be a she used to work cleaning windows, and she was on the scaffolding one day, and she saw Neo stepping off the building when he was about to kill himself. But she saw the real Neo. She like, I realized that's Neo, and ever since then she's been looking for Neo, right? Mind you, she is plugging in from what we used to would have thought was Zion. Now it's called IO. They changed it. Morpheus apparently is dead. IO is a new haven for humans, run by Niobe, who is Jada Pinkett Smith, with like 60 pounds of 60-year-old makeup, because it's supposed to be 60 years later, right? And Bugs is under her command, right? Sati, the little girl, she's back. Priyanka Chopra Jones, the Jonas brothers, his wife, right? She plays Sati, which I was so happy that they brought little Sati back. I love that little character. I love that little girl. She's playing Sati as grown up, and then you brought back the Merovingian, right? Everybody, the Frenchman, one of the best characters in modern cinema. Like, come on, like the Merovingian gets 5 minutes of garbage, but I said all. I think I explained enough, right? I think I explained enough about the plot of this, right? I think I did my best, right? Because it's just so much more that I can talk about. But what I want to say is this, right? The reason that I started to feel away, and the reason that it felt so empty, because the reason we eventually liked the Matrix, and it ain't that it's over our head and they're getting too deep with this one. As a matter of fact, I think to the contrary, they didn't get deep at all with this one. And the reason we used to like the Matrix, right, was because Neo was bad. Neo was a badass. Neo was like, I know karate. And Morpheus like, show me. Morpheus was a badass. And Neo spends 95% of this movie not knowing what the hell is going on. He never gets a clue. He never gets what's going on. He spends the entire movie asking questions and acting like it's Bill and Ted, right? Which I love Neo. Not Neo. I love Keanu Reeves. He's a great actor. But it felt like Neo didn't know and would never know. And he was clueless. He was always moving a step behind. It was everyone else in the movie dragging him around. You know, we got to do this, Neo. We got to do that. It felt like Neo was emasculated. This guy was never Neo, even at the end. And I don't have a problem with Trinity getting powers and she's flying now and Neo's not. Explain it, bro. And not only that, I don't understand why Neo was so powerless to the point he was almost a joke. Right? What point were we supposed to care about what's happening on the screen if the entire time you keep telling us how the Matrix is now it's almost it's almost like a joke in a way. They've reduced it. They explained it by saying the machines have taken your greatest triumphs and made them a joke. So what are we supposed to care about? The reason we cared about the Matrix is because we felt the danger of it before. It was, we're trapped in it. We need to get out. Now it's like, oh, it was nothing. It was just a video game. We deleted it and started over. So we really have nothing There's nothing to fear now, right? There's nothing to fear now. The Matrix can be just wiped away, rebooted at any moment. We have no, there is no, nothing to destroy. Because as soon as we get close to it, he'll just wipe it out, start it over, and that's it, right? It's like, what is this? What is this? What is this? It continuously told us that everything Neo didn't even matter. He did 3 movies of nonsense, right? Because at the end of the day, all they did was reboot it and put him back in it. And he has no clue of who he is or what he's done in the first place. And everything is right back like it was. And not only that, the thing that makes it so bad is that what are we fighting to get out for? Niobe is the leader of this, and she don't want to let no one out. I've never seen a leader care less about anyone else. Niobe got mad at the girl, Bugs, for doing the exact same thing she did. When Niobe was a kid, Neo, not a kid, but a young adult, right, in the Matrix. Neo would not have survived if Niobe didn't give him her ship. We would have all died. She broke the rules and gave Neo her ship. That's the literal definition of a rebel. So when Bugs comes and breaks the rule to break Neo out, the very first thing she did was strip Bugs of her ship and her command and arrested her and arrested Neo. So now Niobe could care less. She only cares about Io living to see the next day. She don't care about him. And so what do we want to get out of the Matrix for? There is no Zion, apparently. They destroyed it. So the only place you can go when you get out of the Matrix is to Io, where Niobe doesn't want you. What is she going to do with the influx of people that Neo starts saving? Because apparently he has no power in the real world. He has no power in the real world. His only power is in the Matrix, which can be cut off and on by the goddamn analysts at will, right? So what are we afraid of? What's so cool about this now? With this self-aware, you have marketing teams making these ridiculous plot lines and making fun. You spent the entire movie destroying the idea of the Matrix. You made it a punchline. You emasculated Neo. You made the Matrix a punchline that could be clicked on and clicked off like a damn Hewlett Packard at any given time, right? It's a Dell computer now. You can just click it off, reboot it, start it over. It's nothing. It means nothing to anyone. And every time this guy wants to just change it, he can just change it, right? There is no. The self-awareness doesn't cause for suspense. It makes it more ridiculous. And my whole thing is, there is zero reason for a new Morpheus. There is zero reason. Because the simple fact of the matter is, he created a modo, whatever you want to call it, to bring back Morpheus. No one knew who this guy is. They don't know what he looks like. He doesn't exist. So there's no reason to hide him. There's no reason to hide him. There's no reason to make him new. He never existed before. If this is indeed the new Matrix, they took out all of the other. They took out the trained man. They took out the Oracle. They took out Morpheus. The only reason he's there is because Neo secretly put him in there. So they're not looking for him. So why can't you have Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus right now? Why would you not have Hugo Weaving? It doesn't make any sense. Lawrence Fishburne said he wasn't even asked to be in it. Now, this new kid has no chance of being a good Morpheus at all. No chance. I don't have no problem with his acting, but I have a problem with him trying to be Morpheus. And I definitely have a problem with the guy trying to be Mr. Smith. Where was I supposed to be scared of this guy? Where was I supposed to be like, oh, Neo's in trouble, he's going to get it now? Never. It was never. The reason we liked The Matrix is the suspense. Will they live? Will they die? And apparently no one lives, no one dies. This is all just us. The machines have all the control. They're even helping people. There are so many more interesting storylines that they could have done with this. But the storyline to make the Matrix an insignificant part of the story, because the Matrix now is a punchline. Warner Brothers is going to do it with or without you. Do it again. What does it matter? Who care? Why do we care that Warner Brothers is going to make money off of the Matrix? We don't even care about the Matrix. We don't care. So what is your overall message? Because you've reduced the Matrix to a dumb three-part video game. So now we have no reason to care about it. So what do we care of Warner Brothers for infinity? No one cares. Apparently, the only person that cares that Warner Brothers is going to make more money off of the Matrix is Lana Wachowski, because no one else cares. You have to make the Matrix worth caring about. At this point, it's only in Neo's head, and he put it in the freaking inside the Matrix, inside the Matrix. So now the Matrix is goofy now, and they try to explain it away. Oh, the machines make everything that you've done. They make it trivial. Because at this point, the movie it made it trivial. You can't make an entire movie about being self-aware and breaking the third wall, the fourth wall, and then being meta and all this stuff that you're trying to do, and then make us care about it at the same time. You're slapping the audience in the face. You're making us feel like idiots for enjoying the Matrix in the first place. You're making us. We invested mad time and energy and emotions in these first three movies. You come back with this whole thing that the machines were in control the entire time. Neo never was in control of anything, and he never was the one. So they controlled what Neo. They made a truce. They made a truce of peace, and then just disregarded it because they started fighting with each other. Which it sounds like a cool premise. Oh, the machines are fighting with each other, but at the end of the day, these machines are supposed to be super intelligent, right? And I don't see a world where they start fighting with themselves. I just don't. Now, I admit, I was like, oh, that's an interesting theory that the machines would start warring with each other. But the only way the machines aren't human like, so I don't think they would even disagree. I just don't think the machines would disagree. I think they would all come to the most efficient conclusion. I don't think they would start warring in factions. Why would machines take factions against other machines when they all are programmed to be efficient and they have no reason to war because they have everything that they need? Yeah, they blacken the sky, but they have other ways. It's been 60 years. You mean to tell me they still haven't figured out a way other than using humans who apparently weren't making enough electricity? There's no natural minerals on there's nothing on Earth that can be used. They haven't figured out a way to clean the sky. It ain't making no sense. It's just not making any sense. You can't tell me that machines that this elevated to make all of this stuff to put these humans in these pods. They can't figure out a way to reuse the sun itself, which is still the sun's still there. So they're gonna fight each other over the right to use humans or not. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm gonna say, to me, the Matrix movie is a bust on all fronts because some of the fight scenes don't live up to what they could have been. The Merovingian was reduced to a rambling idiot. He's like the train man. They rushed all of this stuff in there. None of the new characters are interesting. As a matter of fact, I want to say there aren't really many new characters. There aren't many new characters worth anything. They didn't explore the Matrix like they used to. They didn't put more thought into the programs that we used to. The programs is what made it exciting. The different programs we came across. Not the humans. The humans are boring, right? So you got Trinity in here with her husband and kids, who are all agents all around them, right? So now it's no more. It's like agents. It's everybody's an agent and a bot and everything, right? So they don't need to change because they surrounding you with all these agents. So how are we able to concoct these schemes and go and get Neo and go get Trinity? How are we able to do this when agents are all around at all times? Some of this stuff makes no sense, right? And I feel like how intelligent the Wachowskis are, I feel like she only took it on so Warner Brothers wouldn't be able to do it without her. And she sabotaged it. She made it have no value. To me, The Matrix has no value at this point. When you really listen to what they're telling you, they're basically saying you're stuck in the Matrix, but no one cares that they're in there. And there's no one trying to get you out. Bugs only wanted to get Neo out. There's no one trying to get you out. No one is trying to stop this. Zion is not Zion anymore. Zion's gone. Morpheus is gone. Everyone that was trying to help you is gone. So you're really in there regardless of whether you want to be in there or not. And even at that point, you have to choose to go to live in Io or really stay in the Matrix. Most people leave me in there. There's nothing to look forward to outside of it. There's nothing to look forward to outside. And as a matter of fact, there's no real reason to not just stay in it because you're going to live on and on and on. They just keep recycling you, as opposed to going to IO and dying one day for good. So it's like, what are the benefits of getting out? Right? It doesn't make it. It almost sounds worth staying in. And last but not least, before I get out of here, I don't. I think Neil Patrick Harris, I think Jonathan Groff and Yaha Abdul Mateen II are all bad choices. I think, in my opinion, Neil Patrick Harris can act in anything. He's an amazing actor. But to be the person that we need to feel threatened by, I don't think I will never. I don't find him to be threatening. And as a matter of fact, I feel like he played it as Hollywood as you can get. Like, what's the script? I'll read it, and this is what I'll do, and I'll go to my next gig. I felt like Hugo Weave, bruh, his performance of Agent Smith, it made you feel like your life was in danger, and everything is riding on if Neo can just somehow, some way, figure out how to defeat this guy. I never felt any freaking, I never felt any sense of urgency when it never seemed like the analyst was ever a threat to anything. It seemed like he was mad, cocky, and overconfident for zero reason, right? And it never felt like Neo was even a threat. And Neo didn't even win. Neo did not save the day. It was Trinity. And at the end, with this, we're gonna do what we want to do. Like, what does that mean? Nothing made sense at the end. The ending was the most anticlimactic thing I think I've ever seen in any movie. To say this thing was a disappointment is an understatement. And guess what? I'm going to watch it again just to make sure I am not tripping. But I feel like Neo and Trinity's relationship didn't even make any sense in the second one because they didn't know who they were. Their whole existence right now is based on memories of the video game, apparently. Their whole she learned about herself from the video game. She said I watched the video game and it's pretty ironic because I like motorcycles too. So she still doesn't know who she is. She's learning from herself from the video game. His only memories of being Neo is from the so-called video game that he created. So end of the day, what are we doing? Who are our heroes? They fought for nothing. Because the machines still have us all trapped in the matrix. They're still using us for energy. 60 something years later, Niobe could care less. She's got her little machine alliance. She could care less what goes on. So what are we talking about? Why would we care to watch this nonsense again? I'm just gonna wait for John Wick. I know that's gonna be better than this. it's heartbreaking to have to actually say that I didn't like this movie. That was the worst. That was my worst fear. When the first trailer came, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome." They came out with a second trailer and it showed more and it had more of the plot, and I was like, "This looks scary. I might not. There's no way I can't like it, but it feel like this might be hokey. Some of these fight scenes are hokey. Some of these shots are hokey. Some of these cuts. It's like we all walked away like, I don't know, that was eh. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big fan of the Matrix, like I said, and it just didn't land anywhere. It didn't flush out any one idea through all these ideas in there, and it was supposed to confuse you, right? It's supposed to be like, there's so much going on, there's no way to grasp it all. It's just like the original Matrix. There's so many observations that why? If you throw a bunch of stuff in there for no reason, then it's just a hodgepodge of garbage, right? If I throw 17, 18 ideologies in there just for the sake of doing it, at some point I have nothing. You can't believe in anything because no one in here stands for anything. They're all random programs, all random humans, random machine. It's just random stuff with no end game. There is no end game. The only people with an end game are the machines. Their end game is survival. We're surviving. We're in the matrix. So what are we fighting to get out of? It just didn't have enough. It doesn't have enough guts for me, and I need more. I don't hit me with a whole lot of philosophical stuff that goes nowhere. You broke the matrix down. You made it insignificant, and that's what it is now. There's no way to bring it back and make it. No, the matrix is now an insignificant video construct that had mad flaws in it, and it did not change. Everything stayed the same, and we're stuck in it. So I'm not gonna say any more about this. I find that it had beautiful moments and beautiful shots, but they missed the mark really wide. They missed it bad, and wifey didn't like it, so she's not even on this video because at the time of this, I'm like dealing with COVID, so we not even worried about doing a video together right now. So with that being said, man, I don't see a purpose for another Matrix video, movie, and I'm going to watch. I'm not even going to sit and lie to you and tell you I'm not going to watch. They can make five more. I'm going to watch all five because I'm just a Matrix fan. But where I forgave Star Wars in a lot of places, I'm not forgiving this because this is supposed to be so much more. This is not Star Wars. Matrix was never supposed to be Star Wars. Matrix is supposed to be much deeper, well thought out with the clear end game, and this was all over the place. Like I said, I don't think Neil Patrick Harris gave any kind of performance that would make me feel like, oh my goodness, I'm shaking in my boots. He was more so giddy to just be explaining stuff to people. Like that got him off. I don't know, man. But let me know what you think. CLBMG, hit me up in the comments, man. Let me know what you think about the Matrix. Am I wrong? Am I right? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I don't know, man. I got so much I could talk about, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side. My name is Chuck Wick Ills. Peace.